Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Talent League. It's our second best of one for the day. This time, we are jumping down to B Esports, taking on Pannuhuone. I apologize for the pronunciation there. We'll keep to Panu so I don't get in any more trouble. But we have third and fourth place taking each other on. And so both of these teams coming in, one win under their belt, will be looking to continue to accelerate their progress throughout the season, pick up that second win for the day, and move on merrily. I am Golly joined once again by Puffer Bob. How are you feeling for this one?
You know what? It's starting off good, the fact that we can't even pronounce Pan's name, so we're going to have to stick to that. But yeah, VE Sports Pan. I have had some experience with VE Sports in the past, but
Mm.
can't remember it. I mean, old man dementia is starting to get to me, but doesn't matter. Pan VE Sports, it's a face-off, just like the previous one. Completely different though, as we're going to be going to a different map. Let's actually see what maps they decided to ban for themselves, as we're not getting Clubhouse, not anything special, but not anything boring. It's just a bit of a mix between both of those. It's going to be Chalet, a personal favorite, not complete favorite. I love Clubhouse, but Chalet is still an all-around, just I would say the most organized map you can really play on. And we love to see it. That is definitely a statement I can stick to. And what do you think, Goldie? What's your opinion on good old Chalet?
Well, it's going to be a bit of a change up coming out of our previous continent, right? Very different kind of map. That Chalet, a lot more open, a lot more opportunities for the attack to play outside, open up angles from windows, particularly the windows, and try and catch defenders off as they're running through the map. And it does mean you have to be very careful with where you step as a defender inside Chalet. It's going to give attacking teams a lot more opportunities to find these opening picks and to try and get kind of quite aggressive into your defensive lines quite early on. I look forward to seeing how both of these teams can do that. We've heard rumors of Panu being a little bit scary coming through, so maybe this will be quite a good map for them to be able to show off why they have that sort of fear factor behind them coming into this league.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see. Do we have confirmation that all players are ready heading into the game? All right, let's take it in. Let's go into Chalet. And yeah, just like that, let's see what maps, actually not maps, my apologies, what operators are going to get taken off. Now, again, this is really a gamble. I feel like operators are going to be on the attacking side between Ying, Dokkaebi, Monty, which I'm seeing as how the previous match went. I'm going to be very heavily insinuating on Monty being one of the first bans and Dokkaebi along because Dokkaebi's really annoying to deal with. I don't like her. No one likes playing against her. Playing her feels just
Mm.
about as annoying as playing against her. And with the first man on attack is going to be Dokkaebi. There she is. Now, well, what about the defensive side? What do you think would be the optional picks?
I mean, I think you're immediately looking at your sort of usual suspects, your Fenrirs, your Azamis.
Yeah.
Solace Nerf has taken her out of that position of being banned every single game, but I think she still has a lot of power. We saw Jono pick up the Solace in one round and immediately die last game, so we didn't really get to see what that might look like under the new nerfs. But it is that Ying ban taken away from us. You can also look at something potentially like a Valkyrie. I think there's a lot of discussion about whether Valkyrie becomes the next sort of big common ban coming through. And maybe that's just the case, right? Maybe you just remove that next best information tool available. But the Zami being the first ban coming in from B, I think this makes a lot of sense, right? You want to try and deny a lot of these comfortable positions, and especially as we talked about earlier, with how much you can open up as the attack, being able to throw up Kivas to sort of fix on the go your defensive setup can be very powerful on a map like Chalet.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, we also have one of the picks that I was going to suggest, just like that, Valkyrie being one of them, and Azami joining along. Although Solus, she got gutted. I mean, one of the more strong assets was definitely the fact that she would clear any type of pre-placed drones. As an attacker, you got these pre-placed drones that would help you
Mm.
even sometimes clear out entire floors. You would watch the stairs just to see if anyone would go to third floor. You saw no one. Just like that, it's completely cleared out. Just like that, you have information that at that stage, no one is there. But Solus, with the way she used to be, she could take out any pre-placed drones, and even just in general, her information all around the map on claymores for runouts, on plans, being just kind of a makeshift pulse for some situations. She was absolutely dominant. Now, with that gadget being kind of gutted to a certain point, I'll say. she is not as banned as she used to be. Not certainly at all. Now, I do like their zombie ban. Time consumption from operators hasn't been that common over on the previous match, but it has been noticed, definitely. Azami being one of the more noticeable ones. She hasn't been used that much in the previous border, or my mistake, consulate, but things like deployable shields, wardens, crossfires, things that just kind of held the attackers away just to waste enough time were very noticeable, especially for some rounds, even detrimental. And with Azami being on the board, on Chalet, she is definitely a very noticeable change. Even when downstairs, she can put a little barrier on the bottom of blue stairs, or library stairs as you may call it, and it kind of gives her a just win-win peak situation if anyone is going to be challenging her on bottom blue. Many pixels and peaks are invented by just putting down those Azami barriers, so that's why she's an overall, just in generally insane pick. Although the attacking bans, they seem kind of similar. Yingdo Kabi can't go wrong with it, but that leaves some shield operators out for the BE Sports. Just like that, the blitz is coming out. That's the shield going in. That's going to be a blitz. The shots are being fired. DMR is trying to help. Jonas gets a double kill. Lamb able to finish it off with a blitz. A double kill also coming in from Galanis, but is not going to be able to make up for the man loss. They're in a 2v3 situation, but they have man control and also sight. They have sight. They have infiltrated it, and they have enough intel to maybe even go for a plant. The C4 does come out, but it won't be dealing much damage as the plant is slowly starting to come down. The Cali's still ready with that sniper. I mean, she's going to be absolutely dominant from all the way outside, but will she be able to deny that plant? Definitely not. Or defuse, not plant. My mistake.
Yeah, great, you're outside on the balcony, but you're nowhere near your teammate who desperately needs support, because otherwise you're left in a 3 versus 1, and there's not really much else you can do. So, I mean, I guess you're holding off the rotate, but when the rest of your team starts falling, you have to ditch that pre-set up plan and just get into the action. Just get involved in the rounds. This was a bit disgusting as well, I can't lie. I feel like this is the first time I've ever felt bad for a Blitz player, by the way, since the change. Because how is that melee not going through twice?
We love spaghetti code sometimes. We absolutely love it. But yeah, I mean, unfortunate event for Blitz. Even if he did manage to get one or both of the knockdowns on Rooney, there were definitely teammates there to support her. I mean, just in general, Jonas coming out with a double kill, just finishing off the Blitz, helping out the Rooney right before she got terminated, even while she was flashed. Managed to help him out, but a double, coming in from Galanis is definitely still a notable pick. They managed to get sight, which was fantastic, just absolutely wonderful. But I have no clue what happened with Callie. Why she decided to cut off just one rotation that wasn't even connected completely throughout sight, that wasn't even necessary to go through when she was in a 1v3 and the diffuser was not even close to her angle. It doesn't get me. Maybe definitely she had some sort of plan, but pushing up to bathroom, getting a bit more aggressive, helping out her teammate, making any type of distraction would have helped to just delay or help out that Ram in the 1v3 situation. I mean, Callie was playing alone, and Ram was playing in the 1v3. So at that point, just not much team chemistry or thought put into it, but whatever it is, and is definitely going to be winning their first round, and that's going to be the round number 1, going for defenders, going for an instant breach. We do have Bandit on that wall, but no Bandit trick coming out, so that's going to be main breach in the very early stages of this round.
Inside a connector now as well, as the first of those smoke grenades is going to get rolled on out to give Glaz a perfect line of sight down throughout the site, but Solis, lurking upstairs above, has a real amount of power here to be able to spot out where this diffuser's going down if you can make the verticality, but it's not going to matter because you've just got sprays coming through, the warden close on the staircase, able to see through the smoke as well. It just doesn't matter, and that push put to rest. Yes, Glaz is able to get a kill back in their favor, but you've burned so many smokes already that now you're just relying on this brute forcing through the breach. You're only a minute in. You only have breach open. There's no other site control or map control going in favor of BE Esports here. This is a really nice shutdown from Pan, and now they can just sit tight and watch the rest of the round fall into their control.
Yeah, also a bit of a wonder with the Thatcher. He was looking out for that run out, but I do believe he has a soft breach, which if he already knew he was going to be watching any type of flank after getting the breach down, he could have definitely switched to a Claymore if I'm right. But doesn't matter. A double kill coming in from the side of B Esports, turning the table, making it a 1v3 situation. Now it's all down to Zur. He manages to pick one, the P90 in hand, 50 bullets in that magazine, and he's going to be wasting every single one of them to take out the enemies. Now he's in a 2v1. Gadgets are still deployed. He's still ready for a gunfight. He's still ready to put up some sort of bar, just with no barking, only biting for this dock. I mean, the site is contested. The plant is going down. He doesn't know where exactly, but he knows one's on main stairs. He manages to put off some damage, but not enough, as Chris will be finishing the job. The guys with a very nice 2-tap, just finishing him off, putting him on the floor and finishing the job right then and there, as round 2 is going to be going to be Esports, managing to make it a lot more even. Pan won't be able to have such a good defense as Wildcat and 5 stars were having, but we're continuing. I mean, these shots were just insane. How the tides turned so quickly, how it went from a 2v4 to a 3v5 to a 3v2, just in a matter of seconds, just with a couple of picks, 1v1s that were won from the side of B Esports. It all got turned upside down, and that was a very good way of turning it all, or inverting it, some may say. But going back downstairs, if it doesn't work the first time, adapt and try the second.
Yeah, I think you're fine to run it back here as Pan, right? You had a really good start, and in part that was due to B Esports being incredibly one-dimensional again, which I think is something that we're going to maybe see be a bit of a recurring trend for them, right? Last round they were all in on a rush. This time they were all in on a glass smoke plant on that main breach. And what ended up resolving that round for them, from flipping them out of that 3 versus 5, that horrible situation like you highlighted, was the ability for them to just send their finger off. And Galvanize just goes upstairs, puts up pressure on the main staircase, catches players out in lobby, and suddenly you completely flip the narrative of the round, where you're looking at, oh, they have no map control, to suddenly, oh, wait, they've actually killed the only 2 players not really on site, the rest of Pan now scrambling to regain that control, and get caught off trying to do so. Really nice adaptation from B that put them in such a good position.
Yeah, I mean, very good early round, but at the end, I mean, Pan didn't end up winning it, and B managed to just kind of catch them off guard, getting a bit of a jump in on them. Whatever it was, they managed to even out the score, and hopefully Pan doesn't make the same mistakes, letting them get these picks. And as we're continuing on to the round, we also see the Maverick being brought in, this time instead of a Thatcher, which is a very interesting pick, especially with the push going a bit more, I guess I'll say, all-around map. Do you want to take this map control, just contest everything they can for as much as they can? They also bring the Maverick Osa combo on main breach, which just makes it very deadly. You don't need to open up the entire breach to cut off as much rotation as you can, because Osa, she has that shield. She can make herself completely safe from any shots coming at her, but when she decides to peek, she can very much do it. There comes a bit of nading. There comes the bulletproof also being taken out, and the breach is now up to availability. The bandits can't even go up to trick it because Osa is watching. He tries that, and he's going to be taken off the board. So the attackers are starting to slowly just kind of push in to start choke and corner defenders. As, I mean, they're starting to lose Gadget, but just like that, the Gadgets are being thrown back at the defenders. A kill coming in from the grenade. That's going to be Zur off the board. Man advantage going to B Esports, and this is going to start getting very heated.
Playing for main stairs here, that's what this screams to me. They've got the line across the breach, Osa holding it from outside, so you're making it very difficult for Pan to walk through their own bomb site, but you have to find a way to deny that pressure inside a connector, and whether it's the Grim, with the hard breach charge now opening up the hatch, then that's going to be their solution to it. But dropping away means if you're bold, if you're brave, you can still hang on just underneath and pray that no one swings you from above. It's a lot of reliance on the phantom pressure, as they're now still waiting to rotate this diffuser case into a position where you can walk on down. He's going to swing into connector. You do lose Galvanize instead of the rotate. It's just continuing to hold down from main stairs, and this is exactly what the plan was. Wait and watch and force the defense to make a move and walk into your line of sight. Everything working out perfectly there for B Esports, who have completely flipped the narrative of this first half. They're no longer reliant on just stumbling in and getting caught off on a gimmick. That was a really nice, lots of pressure, all building in around that bomb site. They click their fingers and they all walk down.
And like that, patience is key. We saw these angles being held very nicely. They're eating their veggies and they're doing how they should, with letting, just like you said, letting the defenders walk into the attackers instead of the other way around. They started, just another round, which they completely turned upside down. They did get the opening kill onto Zer, the Doc, with that frag, which was very essential because all around, it's a very good a very good start. But they just let it continue. The defenders didn't have any say in it, and with that, they got themselves the second round, also having a bit of technical difficulties, maybe even getting a rehost. Not completely sure. Whatever the situation is right now, currently we're in basement, and with that, let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens because, Pan, they need to focus it. They definitely need to change things up a bit. They need to also be a bit more patient. They can't get greedy. They can't get too much aggression. They can't put too much aggression into their play. They can't just expect to walk into every gunfight and win it. They need to do it tactically. And even if they do end up doing it, team chemistry does also end up playing a lot into it. And B Esports starting off a lot worse, than usual here. Spawn peak isn't what I'd expect, but it happened. And Pan definitely changing things up.
And that's the most important pick to get here. It's that Maverick, and they've relied on having the Maverick to be able to open up this main breach. And you can see the complete adaptation coming in from Pan, right? This time we're just leaning so much more into utility that's going to slow down this plant, slow down working in towards green bins or pushing in deep. Things like the Goyo, the Tachanka, that dual fire combination to really try and mess things up for you. A perfectly timed magnet to catch the grenade, but the second one slips through the net while the magnet is charging up. It's going to allow them to walk in and place the exothermic charge down, and they don't want to risk their life in case there's more grenades to follow. So, main breach opened up now for B Esports.
Just like that, Finka Gallon is going into the execution spot where his fellow Maverick was taken out. He's taking the path, he's tracing the steps of his murderer. And just like that, maybe we're going to be seeing a very soon-ish leading gunfight. Just like that, no actual big or major lead-ups, but Grim will not be walking away with just full HP. He's going to be dropped down to 44. Even with the Finka helping out is going to kind of make the difference in that gunfight just so minor, it won't really matter. And yeah, gunfights are going to ensue. We still have the Goyo canisters to kind of waste the time. Hip firing, going into it. Pala definitely wasn't ready for it. He could have pre-aimed, he could have been ready, a bit more prepared, but deciding to go into that gunfight with a hip fire definitely gave Gallons a very good head start. Now, that Goyo canister probably won't be getting set off, at least not for now, because Blue can't continue to peek into main breach side or main stairs, mostly because, we're going to get peeked from Blue stairs, and just like that, a double kill coming out from Zer, a very triple, just to kind of continue on the trend at P90. It doesn't lose all the bullets. It's a 3v1 situation. Sundi just barely hanging on, though 16 HP. He doesn't have a Finka or a Doc on his team to help him out. And with that, there's not much hope left for B Esports at the current situation.
Shamika Launcher just firing those fire right at the Grim's location. Going to be forced to relocate, try and work way towards main stairs and get the initial pick onto the Goyo, who was trying to open up the canister to prevent the push down. That fire's going to last until about 5 seconds after the round, though. So going to have to rely on dropping down connector hatch, perhaps. As the fire is still waiting for you, you get the location of the Tachanka. You go for a full rotation around towards Blue Stairs. It's a 1 versus 2, but guess who's waiting at the bottom of the staircase? It's the Kapkan. He's not going to let you walk down. Sorry, it's the Tachanka. He's not going to let you walk down. I am not used to seeing this operator with rocking out on the 9x19 in particular, but obviously that's what we got, and that's going to close out the round.
Yeah. With that, we're going to be having a bit of a rehost, a bit of cams. You get to see us yet again, a bit of a break from all this action, all this chalet. You saw it enough. You didn't see us enough, though, because, that round went smoothly. Overall, Pan, they had just an overall plan. They managed the double or the triple kill even from Zer was, oh my god, had me heated up. It's already hot enough in our room right now because the temperatures are just absolutely going ape, but it just makes it so much worse. And yeah, right now the settings or something was a bit messed up, so we're going to be doing a bit of a rehost. But yeah, Golu, what's your, I guess you'll say, insight on the current round?
I'm finding it really interesting that we're having this real big lean into just rerunning Basement. We've
Yeah.
now played Basement 3 times in the first 4 rounds, and I think Chalet is a map where all 4 bomb sites are viable and playable. If something's not working, I don't think we need to hold on to it for as long as we did. And yeah, it worked out the third time, right? They finally able to get that second defensive win on round number 4, but so much had to go right for them to be able to put themselves in that position. And I think we saw a big change up from B Esports in terms of how they wanted to deal with it, right? Obviously, losing the Maverick, they're forced to then fully open up this main breach, which they do anyway. And they get it open up. They start applying that pressure into from games. They obviously have the Grim running around the middle floor. But there's a lot more pressure coming in where they can't get connect to hatch open, or they don't feel like they can rotate over towards Wine and get that hatch open as well. So a lot more flexibility and freedom given to Pan based off of the fact that losing that Maverick has drawn a lot more resources and responsibility onto the remaining members of the esports. And I think they've really benefited from that opening spawn kill. But you even look at the last 3 rounds, I think ultimately we've seen B Sports have a really good understanding of how they want to attack into basement and been able to show that they can get to the same end state through multiple means. Even in that last round, until the very end, when that triple kill started to come through for Zer on the main breach, right? You're looking at a potential round where there's very little active denial coming in towards the breach. The smokes have gone out to give you that coverage. It was off of really good understanding from Zer of what the likely objective here is from B Esports in terms of they're probably planting in a default position. They probably have someone pushing through the smoke to try and apply pressure in towards the anchors in sight, trying to stop them from denying that plant, especially when you've got things like a Tachanka in play. You want to get deep in, you want to deny that access. So reads into both of those ideas simultaneously and catches it off. It's a fantastic piece of individual work from Zer, but I think that's kind of why Pan won. I think they banked on the fact that Zer would pull something off to stop the breach, and he did. I don't know if that's a successful strategy to rely on. I don't know if that's a strategy that you want to invest 3 of your defensive rounds into trying to pull off. But they got there in the end, I guess, right? And we're now sat in a position where they are 2-2. Maybe that's a good enough start for the first 4 rounds of Chalet. But now they're not going to run basement back again, so we need to see them coming with a little bit more firepower on some of these other bomb sites too, if they want to finish off this half quite comfortably.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, holy, you wrote absolutely everything down to a point. Absolutely took every point out of my mouth, even Jesus. And if I heard correctly from the side of production, can we throw it back, or are we going to break? Okay. With that, we're going to be going for a short break. Stay tuned because things are going to get resolved very quickly, and we will be back with you in a second. Welcome back, welcome back. We're here again, not with our faces, but we do see a bit of a layout of the map, and we're joined by our lovely Golden Mellow. Hello.
Hello.
We're back, we're back. It's a 2-2. Now, you gave a very deep insight on how it went earlier and how everything was, and basically I couldn't agree with you more with everything that happened, but we're not going to repeat it because we have a game to cast right now, so let's see what's actually happening at the current moment. Not much action, that's for sure, but we're upstairs again, or actually for the second time I do believe it was, and with that, maybe. I'm just crossing my fingers. I know I don't want to caster curse this, but maybe we get to see a bit of a rush. Because first time it happened, that blitz strategy, I mean, didn't work out too well, but mostly because that blitz got scammed out of his punches.
Yeah, it was it's certainly unfortunate. I think that's probably like some sort of level of karma for playing the blitz here. This time, be not going to be running it back, and instead want to lean on a more traditional sort of slower push, focusing around Solarium though, which is interesting to see. They've got Chris downstairs on that buck, who can start to rip open some of this floor just to make sure that the entry for the rest of the team focusing on that Solarium Repel is going to be just a little bit tidier. But a slow start means that there's time for Pan to start to relocate themselves, put themselves in more comfortable positions, and Mute wants to try and go for a bit of a swing, but it is being watched vigilantly.
Vigilantly, just like that, and Lamb getting the first pick, the opening pick onto Chris. That's going to be the buck, the soft breacher off the board. Now, the BE Esports, they don't have much soft breach relying on them, but they still have nades in their hands. That's going to be Lamb getting taken out, traded out, ETU, just getting one for himself, you know, finishing the job onto Galenus, and that is going to be the thinking. Now, we have two quite essential operators, especially for the vertical. I mean, the bug getting taken off is going to be very detrimental, but those heals from Finka have been proving quite useful in the previous few rounds. Although Legion, you know, it's a fair trade for at least one of those because Legion still had some soup cans in his inventory, still wanted to pluck him out as much as he can to be a bit of a more annoying character and overall for that information gathering. But Repel is definitely the strategy here. I mean, we have some Solarium Repels earlier. We have, oh, what a shot from E2, and that's going to be a double kill from him. Trophy just being challenged from the windows all the way to Trophy stairs and managing to make that man advantage for them even better than it already was.
Peeking in now through Trophy as well, a little bit afraid to jump on through, given what we've just seen occur to the rest of the team. Habana still outside on the Repel for Solarium window, though, and wants to try and find a pick. Flashbangs flying through, but of course it's the Warden to meet it, so is this swing going to matter? Hopefully not, but able to slip away, does finally go down. You obviously trade out with MD, but Juno's just going to run right up, get that final frag, and the Mute who sat on that reinforcement the entire round is finally rewarded with another kill, takes down the Habana, ends things off cleanly for another defensive win.
Ends things off cleanly just like that. And also, Pan managed to get themselves the third round, meaning they will not be going into a wall swap in a negative or a loss of split. I'll say it like that, in a negative split. They can either go 4-2 or 3-3, which for defense, you know, it's something. You definitely don't want to be in a 2-4 split and then going on to attack. That's a definite no-no. So, and, you know, I would prefer to see, or at least they should probably be aiming towards getting that 4-2 because attack is going to be a bit more troublesome. As long as, of course, it's not going to be as troublesome as bringing a blitz and then absolutely getting demolished. But we're going into kitchen. Now, this is the first time we're seeing kitchen and dining. This is also another side which can also rely on verticals. This is where verticals get contested, and defenders, although do sometimes give up the verticals quite fastly, they still try to waste a lot of time because, I mean, we see the Mira is going to be a very annoying operator. The Frost is going to be giving the attackers just another task to deal with. You know, you have the Legion to watch out, you have to watch out for flanks, you have to do all these types of processes, and then let's add another task to overload your system with that Frost trap. You know, you walk into it and it's basically over because we already see the Frosts are being put around verticals. So, you know, you hear that Frost go up, and as in a defender, there's probably a hole near you which you can shoot the downed operator before he actually manages to free himself.
Immediate pressure onto the game's windows, showing from very early on they want to engage in a full horizontal roam clear, and I really like to see this dedication coming out from B Esports at the start. Mirror window on the office box just to watch down Ivy Corridor, and again give them a way to contest, with Zer getting a lovely kill onto Black Wolf, and more importantly, you catch out the Osa. How many times on this attack are you going to see the Thermite try and open up the kitchen breach and use the Osa to walk in and get that bomb down next to the bomb chassis? Fantastic opening pick, and then Jonas adds onto it by having the long angle from the master bed contest and take down the Grim.
Not only is it going to be very common to see that Thermite Osa combo, but it's been also a very common tradition for Pan as a defender. When they get that opening pick, it's always a very important operator. I mean, earlier was the Maverick, now it's the Osa. What else are we going to see? Continuing also the Grim, who just for kind of denying these pushes from the defenders and these peaks, you know, kind of pushing them away from these certain angles that they maybe need to hold or are very advantageous for them. The Grim is definitely a useful set. Now, the Thermite, of course, you don't want to get rid of the Hard Breach, but they're going to be getting rid of the Finka. Jonas just going on an absolute spree, getting the second for himself. You know, he's feeling it. That T5, you know, Legion may have been just absolutely dropped as a character because his gadget isn't invisible anymore, you know, the damage is reduced, whatever it may be. He's definitely got that gun to back him up, and Jonas has been using it to its full potential. And we're heading down to the last minute. They don't have the Osa shields, like you mentioned, Golub. They have a Twitch, they have a Thermite, they have main breach, but it's a 3v5 or a 2v4, and they don't have much to go off of.
A little bit of pressure now. They recognize that they need to go upstairs and deal with as many of these kills as possible, and they get the opening onto Zer, aggressive on the half wall, but I don't know if they're expecting the close presence from E2 just around the corner in Piano. Crouching underneath the opened up mirror window into office. You're going to slip right past E2. The drone coming through, but it's not in time. You lose Chris. You have to go for a second swing, and MD does make it count. Still full HP. Both remaining defenders downstairs inside of the site, but there's only 18 seconds to go here for MD. So, what do? You look towards the kitchen hatch. You've got to peek down to your right. That's where they are. You hit a goo. You pull it out. That both defenders slip just a little bit further away into harder positions to try and root out. You go for the drop and you get one. It's a triple kill on the round, stuck in the rotation with a pistol. The last defender is flung down the staircase to hide away, and they win out again.
Yeah. Playing it safe and sound, you know, the defender doesn't want to get into any uncontested or contesting territory against the attackers, because attackers definitely have been having these moments of just in general having the winning gunfights. Although when it comes to sneak ups such as this from E2, you know, you can't really do much. But MD definitely proved that he got the first, he got the second, almost the third. But, you know, Jonas didn't want to mess with him. Jonas got himself a nice double upstairs. He decided, enough of being above, let's go below. Let's play it safe. Let's hide away. He probably doesn't have the time to defuse. He's definitely going to be going for the final kill, because if he doesn't, he can start planting. That's all right. We have enough intel on him to let it kind of go our way. And with that, and is definitely going to be finishing on a 4-2 split, meaning B is now on defense. And this is looking like a very similar match like previously. I mean, it was a 4-2 split, and then Wildcats took it away. So let's see if B can, you know, kind of carry it all the way to their nest, you know, get that honey and get that victory.
Would be a little bit of work cut out for them, and I think Chalet is a map that's harder to lean solely on your defenses for. I think getting attacking wins is so important. And both of their attacking wins hit on basement, which they did have a very good game plan for. But I feel like they were sort of given a big benefit in terms of being able to attack it so many times to try and collect those wins. Immediately backs downstairs to the basement as well. So both these teams clearly having that comfortability, that familiarity with it as a bomb site. They want to try and run it back. The Kaid and the Tuberam combo does mean that they should be able to hold on to the main breach for just a little bit longer, as well as this extension up into games, which I really like to see, right? Teams try and hold on to a little bit more of the rest of the map. Because we saw what happened, right? Galani is able to push into games and get that pressure around main stairs so early on. This adaptation of the stock mirror window means that MD is now responsible for holding down that push and does make it a little bit safer to lurk around inside of the main garage. But already, very quickly, up on the wine doorway, shoots a couple shots into sight, doesn't get anything, but now B should be pretty nervous about presence right next to the site from the early minutes of the round.
Most definitely. I mean, not much progress is coming in, as in wasting the gadgets of defenders or, spending their own utility. But, and right now, they're definitely getting things in order. They're nicely setting it up, droning everything out, making there's, safety precautions. You definitely don't want to go into site and just execute that you have in mind with full-blown steaming guns and with everything just kind of popping off. But you want to nicely set it up. You want to have it to be clean. You want to have as much of an advantage on your side as you can. And just like that, Jonas is going to be starting off that advantage with an opening pick onto Zundi. Now, Zundi getting taken off won't matter much, as Kak will be getting C4'd into oblivion by Chris. Now, the trade has happened. Not a complete refrag, but it's definitely there because the Rook getting traded out for Thatcher. I don't know how to feel about that, especially after the main breed. Zer manages to finish off Chris, a free frag, a late refrag coming in, and things are starting to slowly crumble down. MD, even staying upstairs, decided to move back down and take out Jonas, making it a 3v3, evening out the score. And I wonder what these attackers are going to do to kind of break through this crossfire of defense.
They've been so focused on Wine in the early stages of this round, with the breach open up, sure, but not much else to do from here, right? Able to sneak their way in now and get the plant down, throwing out Impact to try and contest it, but they're not watching for the swing from Galanize, who's just been free to run up onto Pillar and shut down the plant. Now you're forced to just go for a Haymaker, run into sight. You do trade out one quick kill, but you're left in a 1 versus 2 situation. Rimby's protecting your close corner on Pillar for the time being, but you're forced to make a swing, and MD ready to collect that kill.
Like that. I don't know what exactly Pan was thinking right then and there, but he's going to be taking the round. I mean, Pan they just let up the run-up. We saw someone holding him on Pillar. We saw someone holding him from Breach. How the hell did a swing onto the main Breach even happen? Not only was it, not on the main Breach, on the planter. Not only was it a swing onto him, he got away scot-free. He didn't even drop a single tear of blood, just anything. I mean, he got in, he got out safe and sound, like nothing happened, with a W just being carried in his back pocket. And, B, they managed to get away with it in a very orderly fashion, as Pan, sadly losing the round in the end, and managing to kind of even out the score for B. 4-3, getting closer, getting there, just not quite yet. Now we're going to be going over to games and Bar, I do believe that is, a side that introduced Frost as a very usable character, especially for here. I mean, this is going to be, from seeing that already, Frost, I mean, having that shield. Just in general, a good character here. We see the Wamai to be helping out with the shield on top library, and just an overall vertical contestant. It's going to be very interesting. I mean, the attackers are going to, at least if they go the normal way, they're going to push from the side of offices, take over Solarium, set up their flanks, whatever it may be. We see the gridlock for the Solarium stair flank, and, we see the Capital to be there to kind of counter in case if it was a Jaeger. Sadly, Wamai is a good counter towards those bolts, but in general, they're going to need to get that vertical, they're going to need to clear those hatches, and they're going to need to either kill or push those defenders down back where they came from.
Opening up main door early on, and again, this is what you can do on Chalet. You open up lots of doorways, lots of windows, and you just wait patiently. If the defense move, they end up lining out into your line of sight. Instead, the foot of the gridlock is exposed from the upper angle from Mezzanine Bout. Takes a little bit of damage, but is able to back away with their life. So, you now have that confirmation of a player up on Mezzanine, which, to be fair, you don't really need confirmation of. That's something that you've come to expect on a gaming hold, but very nice to get that nonetheless. A little bit of pressure now applying onto Library 2. There is a mirror window on that Mez that Frost is playing off of, looking down into Library. You oftentimes see teams really extend out in towards Office, try and open up some of these reinforced walls at the end of that Ivy corridor to flush players out of both Mezzanine and the Ivy staircase. We're not seeing that from Pan early on in this round. Instead, looking much more heavily towards this main lobby. So I'm interested to see what comes of it, because we're already half the way through this round, Bob, and they kind of have very little to show for it. It's just a creep-up basement.
And let's hope it works, and just as he looks away is going to be Black Wolf taking his first opening kill onto Lamb. I mean, the Buck had an idea. kind of made it look like the enemy team. I mean, Pan was just taking it very slowly. They were definitely distracting the enemies, but they weren't making themselves very noticed. So B had some sort of fruition. They had an idea that something was up, something wasn't right. Because, I mean, with how Pan things are going right now, how they're taking out, how effective they are at clearing out things, they've done basically nothing. They've done what you should do in the first minute, but we're down to the last minute, so that doesn't really make it. The Frost doesn't need to peek. Sunzi can play it safe, and just like that, Jonas, I mean, he can hold that angle forever as much as he wants, but he won't be getting far, and just as he looks away, Sunzi swings at him. 3v5 situation, goes for a pre-fire, almost gets it. Another kill coming in. That MP5K from the Mew just absolutely disgusting, as now it's down to the Capital and the Ace. The Ace jumping into side. There's a mirror window. He gets contested from the door, and it's gonna be looking like a flawless any second now. And honestly, I have no clue what they were doing. I mean, they had someone sneak up, just completely fumble, and no contest was actually had on the upper floor.
Yeah, it was a pretty slow start for the attack, and now you're boxed out of sight. You're watching in from the window. Are you able to get the flawless round? It looks like he's not even going to recontest a swing. Just taking a wait patiently back. Does swing back. Galvanize takes him out and secures that flawless round for them. Just want to make sure that they get it added onto the tally. I believe this is the first of Chalet as well. We saw 2 in our last matchup on Consulate, so 3rd of the evening. Congratulations to them for doing just that. But again, you're looking at a push in which Pan don't really hold any of the cards, right? They walk up to the building, they open up some doorways, and then they just stand still. They just do nothing. And B Esports almost pondering what this is supposed to mean, what trick is going on here. Well, it's a little bit of a push to try and sneak the buck up through the basement. But again, Lamb's just watching it. He's ready for this sort of play because guess what? He's in sight and he has nothing better to do than watch maybe the one gimmick rush you try and pull off. Well, if there's no other pressure on him, he's pretty free to just sit and watch the bottom of the staircase. Freebie kill coming over for Lamb, and the rest of the round just sort of falls apart from there.
I mean, it's also the thing, like, if you're gonna do high-risk, high-reward plays like these, have a backup plan. For the love of God, don't rely on this one gimmick. Don't rely on this one sneak in. Don't rely on Buck just getting the side and getting a 5k, or an ace, some may say. Please, have a backup plan, because once that Buck was down, it just crumbled. It was just like nothing happened in the beginning. It was like a free round was added to B Esports' count. I mean, you know, have something going on. If you're going to be making it a distraction to get that buck in, make it an actual distraction. Don't just let nothing happen. Start taking the upper floor. Start making it seem like that's what you're going to be contesting. Going the default route like normally people do. You know, making it seem like, okay, you know, they're going to be focusing on us upstairs. We're going to be clearing our gadgets. Boom. That's when the buck comes in, and even if he does end up dying, you still have some progress. You still have some ground covered. You still have a contest. You still maybe, even if it's not as safe as, you know, just standing back and holding angles, hoping the defenders peek you, it's something, and you need to get that something going to make that progress. And just like that, I mean, B Sports definitely showing that they have had many upper hands in this situation, and them being on defense just makes it that much easier because they're patient. They're very patient. They have been on attack as well, holding main stairs, holding whatever push it comes. When they get into their position, they definitely take it. They take what they came there for. But, you know, B not looking like they're going to be having any problems throughout the match. So, I mean, with that, we're still slowly regressing towards this main breach. We're going for it. The Thatchers are going to be coming out. We are going to be relying or forcing an attack, but this is where it gets interesting. That C4 from below is definitely going to be coming into play. They don't need a pulse for it. All they need is to hold Kitchen to kind of rely or force back these types of pushes. A gunfight going all down to the bottom floor. That's going to be Lamb taking off the knife to the heart, as Sunji will be adding it to his KD.
First kill coming through very late, though, and now you have to be a little bit more concerned about potential pressure coming up behind you on the main stairs. Still get to remove Denial down on the kitchen breach as well, so only a minute left for Pan to play, and B looking very comfortable to try and just hold slowly and close things out. They do have the EMPs, but a well-placed Nitro Cell from above is able to get the Injure out onto the Thermite. With the wall being reactivated, He's not going to get away. Why are you trying to pick him up next to the wall? Let him crawl to safety first. You've taken down your own teammate. The flank does catch one, but not the second. And you're down in a 2 versus 4 with the wall getting opened up behind you eventually. B sat comfortably in sight with one potentially coming in for a flank. You walk on up. Chris guns E2 down in the corridor. One more on the main breach, but can't get in enough. And Sunday runs all the way around the map to get back into the fray for the final frag. Pan look lost.
Horrific. Absolutely horrific. I mean, not only did they apply pressure from above, below, and the middle floor, not allowing them to get basically anywhere, the gunfight one below just put so much more pressure on Pan than it needed to. Not only did they get pressurized way too early, but they didn't kind of leave this thought in the back of their mind for late game. The flank did still end up happening, but they wasted nomad air jabs. They wasted about like half a minute just looking. The Thermite was looking for each of these stairs. You know, where's the flank gonna come from? Where's the Legion gonna ascend or descend? It just all worked out so well for B in the end. And even, for the love of God, just like you said, go let the man crawl away from those voltage, like, battered walls. Please don't let it die to a battery, because out of all the things I wouldn't expect a siege death to be caused in, especially in a competitive scene, is a goddamn bandit battery. Out of all things. And even then, the amount of just, not only were they stacking pressure on pressure on pressure from the side onto Pan, the Esports was just overall doing well. They had a nice C4 play. You know, they get the man advantage a bit late, that is true, but they got it. They were pushing pressure. They weren't letting them get in, and they were just fortifying every single move they did with just one-upping everything they did. And at the end, I mean, I think this is the first time I'm going to be seeing a bandit battery kill. I've seen a Cade Claw kill, Flores drone kills, whatever it may be, but a bandit battery? Really?
Well, we have to look on to the next round. For Pan, it's trying to stave off this match point. Again, focusing very much on the backside. So these two teams, very different approaches to how they want to open up the basement. We saw B always focusing on the main breach, Pan going for wine and the big garage instead. But it's going to start off in a horrible fashion with losing your ace, that second form of hard breach. You're now relying purely on the exothermic charges to open up both wine walls, and ideally you don't want to fully open this long one. You want to open it partially with that ace, so you can hold head height levels across. Forced to go for the wine hatch now as well, but Lamb does get a kill back onto MD. It's met with a Zoto canister, but it won't be denied, so they should eventually get this hatch open up.
I was definitely not relying on any actual outside or wide main breach. They're going to be going for the hatches play. Maybe the exothermic is going to have a second roll into going wide side, because all these attackers, that's where their attack is being focused on. With the time running out slowly, you know, they do have a similar push to what we've seen earlier. Let's just hope some random swing doesn't ruin the planned situation. There it goes. That's the main breach on the side of wine, but it's going to be getting delayed by the Tubarao. The Vector spots Chris, almost takes off the Thatcher, but not just quite. I mean, they're going to be getting very close to these gunfights, but they need to actually stick to it or just kind of let it go, just like Chris did. You know, he went back, he did it very well. The line scan coming in, the Beekeeper just kind of letting it go. Jonas gets one onto Galanis, and that's going to be a down to the Warden. Aita's getting one for himself, a 4v2 going for Pan. They're down to their last minute. Another shot coming in. That's going to be Maestro off the board. Double kill from Jonas. Chris managing to trade it all out, but it's still a 3v1 situation, and he's standing in the middle of those bees, just letting everyone know, hey, I'm standing here. Go for a pre-fire, and E2 definitely went for it. He saw it, he took it, and he finished the round, and that's going to be round 5, going, or the 5th round for Pan, as now, I feel like now this is where it gets really important, because these two next rounds can decide a winner.
I'm a little bit bamboozled, in all honesty.
Oh.
Just a bit confused, in all honesty. Just why? We're just sort of fun swinging into Pan. There's good bit of Grim utility coming through to clear out Pillar. That's fantastic. They obviously have players holding on the hatch, but when a push from an attacking team is so one-dimensional, that frees up a lot of space. And I feel like B did not recognize just how all-in Pannu's attack was. Right, they very easily could have had someone come up main stairs, or blue, or both, to try and apply pressure onto the hatch to retake ground. Especially once you know that hatch is opened, you know that it's going to be a core tenet of how this attack wants to play its post-plant, so you need to be ready for that at the very least. They were so focused on denying the plant in its entirety that they missed the opportunity to let it go down and then re-engage, banking on the fact that at one point they had an advantage in that round in terms of man count. They gave Pannuhuone in, and credit to them, they took it and doubled down harder. But I would have liked to see just a little bit more confidence coming through B in feeling for a retake plan.
Yeah, they definitely ignored many aspects and many options and routes that they could have gone with. They also ignored the main breach for some reason. The biggest opening, they were focusing on that swing from the enemy. I mean, they were focusing on that thermite to go in behind and plant, and that would have been the winning situation right there. Okay, he's gonna run into my bullets, perfect. What about the Thatcher that's just spraying bullets onto everyone, onto blue, onto the mirror at the end? Just absolutely taking everyone out. It seems like he was completely ignored, and what's not going to be ignored is the first opening kill from Lambe. Now, as soon as he's off the board, that's going to be the Frost. She has put her mats down and her shield, hopefully, so she's not going to be that bad of a trade-off when it comes to, these gadgets, but she's definitely still a person who would be very valuable when it comes to gunfights and just overall man advantage. So a very not too early of a pick, but not too late. This is kind of balanced out a lot more than it was, and the aggression on this push is definitely coming out. I mean, Jonas just absolutely picking everything, almost getting his hat taken off, as Galen is going to be forced back to bottom library stairs, or bottom blue, some would say, and they're playing it safe. They lost one man. They don't want to keep up that tradition. They don't want to give him the upper hand. And that's exactly what happened. Jonas takes out Mute. A trade comes on for Black Wolf, taking out the player who took out the Mute. That's another kill. That's a double for Lambe, and it's a 3v1. All of a sudden, Pan having the upper hand. Black Wolf going for very aggressive pushes, and it works out. He gets Lamb, but that plant should be going down any second. Now, they are pushing site. I mean, they normally should. They have Hatch's control. They have verticality, and Gak is going to be finishing it off.
Again, just take the space above, push them out, and it was a much better attempt from Pan here, right? Last time, attacking onto top floor, they didn't do that. They weren't able to put that pressure in from library, pair it with the mezzanine windows, with actually walking into office and start pushing down. A much better attempt, and they actually dislodged this top floor. Actually getting that pressure above enabled them to start working away from Fireplace, because you're no longer afraid of the Frost just shooting you down the moment you try and walk in the doorway. Really nice adaptations from Panu coming in, and it's really nice to see them pick up on the mistakes they made last time, and so quickly make these big turnarounds to improve their chances.
Yeah, I mean, how everything just went down. Pan definitely has been having a tough time with attacking. Yeah, Pan has definitely been having a lot of trouble when it comes to their attack. And, even if they managed to bring it back. These 2 rounds have been very dominant for them. They have been showing that, they've been making mistakes, but they're exposing B for making even more mistakes. In the previous round on defense, when they were in basement, like we mentioned, I mean, we had many options to go about the way they were defending, many options to punish Pan, but they decided not to. A similar thing happened right now. They got the opening pick. They could have backed off like they mainly thought, but then it just kind of went in between. I mean, the Mute got taken out, then it kind of changed to one thing to another. And although B Esports, they got themselves a very nasty double kill to kind of try to even it out a bit. In the end, it didn't matter. A 3v1 is a 3v1, and that is very hard to, just a very unwinnable situation.
Yeah, it is really hard, but I think, again, this is what it all comes down to. It's this adaptation. It's this learning on the fly and fixing from those previous mistakes that is going to suit Pan the longer this game goes on. Right? They're you look at the last round. Last time attacking this floor, they just relied all in on that Buck walking up. Second time around, it's a lot more of a focus on, okay, we can apply a bit of pressure downstairs, but we need to make sure that we're lending support and enabling that to be a powerful position if we want to. And they get a little bit of work done, they open up some verts, they give themselves some options for later, but then they back away and they fully commit to this full sweep of top floor, clearing out utility, actually trying to battle it out. And we saw that the same thing with the basement attack, right? A big mistake they made last time attacking basement was just not committing down onto pillar, not having that coverage ready for when you go for the plant. So what do this time? They make sure they shoot Grim Utility in and have a gun watching it. They're doubling up on everything that goes wrong and coming back time and time again, just a little bit stronger. And now we're looking at a kitchen attack. And I literally wrote here in my notes, Pan look lost, zero clue what they are doing, it's a joke. That is literally what I wrote after their last attack of this site, which I appreciate. Is quite harsh criticism. But at the trend we're seeing, I now actually feel like there is a very good chance they come back with a much better game plan. They're running a very similar lineup, they've dropped the Thermite off, which to me again screams that they're going to rely on just using the Ace and Habana combination, right? They're changing up what hardbridge they want, which to me screams a different goal. They very clearly only wanted to lightly contest onto the top floor with the use of, like, the Ace. Now they changed to a Habana, which enables them to do just that, lean a little bit harder into how they wanted to play it anyway. You pair that with the Ace, who doesn't have to walk up so close to the breach, you'd remove the ability to get killed by a Nitro Cell. I say this as Sunday inside of Split nearly gets the opening kill onto the Nomad outside of the West Main windows, but if they back away again, I'm, again, liking the changes that we're seeing them make and what this potentially suggests.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, these changes are definitely what is going to be getting them this victory, even if they manage to get it. But what's not going to be managing to do it is because things like these. I mean, MD getting a first pick, it's going to be on the Nomad, the flank watch out of all these situations. Galen is not getting punished for that second peek. It was going to be very detrimental, and this is their chance. I mean, Pan right now, they have the opportunity. You can win this round because they've been struggling against B. That's a certain. They have had their fair share of rounds where they have been dominant. That's for sure. Don't get me wrong. But if they continue going up against B, they're going to be having a very risky couple rounds going into overtime. So they want to exercise, or at least get as much out of right now as they can. Just like this. Amazing punish from Jonas. He's holding it. He's being patient, and he gets it. He gets the opening kill for their side. Bandit right now looking very low because he got punished also very heavily just by peeking, and they don't have a doc to heal him, so he's going to be staying like that. His gunfights are going to be very low, having just low chances of winning unless he manages to sneak up on the player or any type of C4 coming from him, even though he's already wasted it. But it's a 4v4. Man advantage is evened out. They still have a lot more HP than the opponents, but they don't have the time. They definitely are wasting a bit too much time. They need to start progressing, and that's one of the major focuses. I mean, they have this utility, but they need to start getting towards working it in order to kind of push it through.
Peeking in now towards trophy window as well. Drone information on the Maestro. So if they're able to move quickly, a real opportunity to try and get another pick and try to accelerate this lead through. Very clearly lining up for this push down Solarium as E2 walking down the staircase to contest into West Main, trying to open up the window for Kaku to try and jump on in. That's exactly what's going to happen. Going to be immediately met with a goo mine and hit the floor to pull it out, but you only have 12 seconds left in the round. A little bit of pressure being applied from the hatch, but can't see anyone inside a kitchen, and that's because they dropped just a little bit off. Jonas is able to get one, but as soon as drops the hatch, he's immediately met with the Alder, and Black Wolf swings through the rotate to meet two more, pushing down Split, making sure the round ends now.
Making sure the round ends and making sure they're going into overtime. That all die in hand, absolute demolition machine. With how many bullets it has, with how much fire rate it has, it may have a long reload, but that's a weakness that was not exploited right now because all he needed was one mag to finish the job and bring us over to overtime, where B again, we're looking at a very nice situation. You know, you already see Black Wolf right now on that all that they're going kitchen and dining yet again. And with that, we're going to be seeing a bit of change. I mean, Pan, they started off weak because they got punished, and you know, they were playing against a very aggressive team. B right now is playing extremely aggressive with how they started it because the kill on the Nomads just absolutely quick. It was quick, smooth. Nomad didn't even have reaction upon it, but that aggression was definitely punished for. I mean, Jonas was being patient. He managed to get the opening kill for Pan, and then, you know, it came down to this execute. And that's when it all just fell down because they were all walking in a straight line directly into Black Wolf's sight. You kind of need to spread around this pressure. Of course, you should only push Trophy if that's your main push. You can't just go someone going from behind, someone going from above, and someone going from up front. That's a split push. You need to work as a team, but you can still work around the same area. One going to double door, one going into side, one going forward, and that's how you get these refrags, these picks that are unexpected onto the side of B. And just like that, B's going to be opening it up. It's going to be Sundi with, of course, he lost his HP at the very start. I'm assuming that was some sort of blood sacrifice to gods, to the Ubisoft lords, just to take out Lamb, and that's going to be the buck off the board. So, for now, you can say goodbye to that easy verticality.
Buck's great if you want to apply that pressure onto Solarium with very few changes to their main lineup. To me, again, looks very indicative of them wanting to repeat similarly to last time. The mistake last time was not being able to transition that top floor control into pressure on the player's insider's sight, and the Buck is a fantastic tool to do that, as well as clear out Solarium stairs by going underneath with verticality. A run out towards Big Window is going to net another kill going over for B as well, who are accelerating their lead inside of round 13, want to push themselves just a little bit further towards that match point by winning the first round of overtime. Pings coming through onto the castle, running around this top floor, as the rest of it's starting to come under the wrap of Pan now, still somewhat wary of Solar Stairs. A beeper will go off as they swing on through, but there's no pre-place nitro, there's no danger there. You just get in, you give that information over to the defense though.
Definitely. Now they know that some sort of push is happening upstairs. The C4s are going off. Jonas gets one, but Galenus will be there to refrag. A double kill for him. He got the run out, took some HP, and they're just hanging onto those hit points, onto those duo hit points, barely managing to stay alive. He took out Jonas, going for a very nice and unexpected flank. Although the verticality is there, we're back again to the 4v2 situation. It's a tough thing to go up against, even with all this they have so much verticality. They still need to get the main breaches. They need to have hatch, but they don't have enough players to apply this pressure. They definitely don't have enough players to just go around or have a full forced push. And just like that, there's going to be a triple kill from Galanus. He has 2 hit points, but he has 3 kills on his line. Something isn't adding up. It's not the math. The math is not matting. And with that, Zerg is dropped even lower. Now, basically, finishing it off, Galanus, a quad kill. Just absolutely dominant, giving 2 times the amount of kills than he had the HP points left with the round. He is basically MVP of that round. Very easily said, as B is going to be getting a round for themselves, going over to a bit of a role swap. Now Pan is on defense, and of course B is on attack. We're going to have to see how that works out, but with how things are going for B, they just always seem to have an upper hand.
Yeah, especially coming into this defensive end, right? They've looked so much more comfortable in terms of playing that aggression from second 0. They're meeting with either spawn kills, or they're ready to rumble in the basement very early on, the moment Pan try and clear them out, and they're not shying away from these gunfights as well in this second half. The first half of the game, very happy to sit back. Well, the first half of their defenses, I should say. Very happy to sit back, wait, force Pan to make a move. They recognized how much time that was taking up already, and just thought, you know what? Maybe we can just get aggressive and mess with them before they even start, and that's what they started to lean into, which has worked really well for them. Coming into overtime now, it's nice to see that return to the forefront of how they want to deal with the assaults coming in from Pannuhuone. Really, really nice change. And now they have to try and win an attacking round if they want to end things here. If Pan can hold the line, it will take all 15 rounds to separate these 2 teams on each of their second games. Remember, they both want the win. They both want as many points from this experience as possible so that they can move slightly further up that leaderboard.
Yeah, most definitely. Although I do like one thing that changed. Instead of having a force operator like Thatcher, they decided Grim has the impact, the MPs. We're going to be going over to Gridlock instead of that Thatcher because they still need the flank watch. I mean, B is being very careful about these flankers because Pan, with that Buck sneaking up blue stairs, they don't trust him as much as they used to. So with that, I mean, we're going upstairs. The library clear is going to be very imminent, but what's going to be also put into fact is Zera's first opening kill. Gal is taken off with the board. There's going to be no more heals for the side of the Esports. We're definitely going to be having a harder time if they lose that HP. It's going to stay where it is. And just like that, Lamp as well. I mean, they do have a dock and assuming he's going to get stimmed up just like that. So, taking out the healer of B, but sticking with yours on Pan is definitely going to be a changer, a game changer, at least up for now. But not much progress from Pan. I mean, they're making a lot more progress than they did the first time they attacked the site. But they need to do it a bit faster. They have so much contention. There's so much angles they can get peeked from. There's so much places they can get taken out of. And there's also a lot of places they could be the ones taking them out, as Chris is going to get one onto land.
Blackhawk's going to double down and make it 2 as well. So what looked like already quite a slow start for B is completely flipped around. No longer getting caught out by Mezzanine, by players on the top of Ivy. Quickly moving through the rest of this top floor. E2 down below does land a perfectly placed Nitrocell, which takes down MD, your only form of hard breach. So no longer able to play for the main breach in office. It's now going to rely on pushing through piano double doorway from pushing in through the main the main door in sight itself to try and get on in. Do you have potential super shorty, which could open up some maybe soft walls, but gonna throw out a nade to try and remove the bulletproof camera looking down the main corridor to give them just a little bit more freedom in walking up to contest.
Just like that, that's going to be a fluke shot from Fluke Door coming on. Chris gets himself the second kill in the round, making it a man advantage for them. You mentioned that word a lot, at least I do, but we're going to keep on mentioning it. Some damage dropped onto IQ. Chris not looking too good, not looking too full, but still in perfect condition. Almost perfect. Some soft breach coming in from the Gridlock Super Shorty. You always love to see it. If you can't fully barricade it, the attackers are definitely going to use it if they get the opportunity. The Bees are coming out, Kak having his identity revealed. Same goes for E2 right now. He is completely revealed. I mean, the pre-fires are definitely going to come off if you're going to keep on standing in them. And just like that, the second Bees are also going to spot the Rooney just to finish it off with Chris and the 5-2 commando shot. Like that, and B Esports is going to be taking the victory for today on Chalet.
A really nice turnaround in that round. I was a little bit concerned that we were going to see them stall out completely on Library. The moment they cleared it off, they just moved so quickly, so efficiently to walk through the rest of that top floor, even in spite of losing MD. Putting together that puzzle of figuring out how we're going to get into sight, how we're going to get that plant down, was done so swiftly. It was very quickly recognized we need that control of the corridor. Let's use these grenades. Let's get rid of that bulletproof camera. And let's start to put pressure on piano window while I open up the soft power portion of the wall with the super shorty. We set ourselves up and we go. Using the Grim Bees to provide that cover, moving in, putting down suppressive fire to make sure they're not getting caught off on that all-important rotation in through the newly formed hole. Really, really nice to see from B Esports. And I'm really pleased to pick up that win. It was a really, really well-played game. And I thoroughly enjoyed. I mean, we've had 2 really, really great games tonight.
Most definitely. Both enjoyable. Both went out with the team that I felt, Wildcats and B right now, I felt like the rounds they won felt a lot more deserving, at least from my perspective. But at the end, all teams played great. They put up a great effort, great adaptation. We're seeing these operators. We saw also today, we saw a bit of clash, we saw a bit of new additions, and it was all fantastic. We even saw Conzilla. Thank you, Lord. Something new for once. But I think that's going to be ending it for today. GG's to both of these teams. And with that, you guys tune in for the next Talent League cast, which will be tomorrow. Tomorrow, same time. Be here, and we will be there too. And you have a great rest of your day.